How's everyone doing tonight? Can you hear me? We'll start in about a minute. Can everybody hear me? Type something in the chat. Sweet, thank you. My camera's gonna be shaky because I'm on my desk. I gotta make it more stable. All right, 7 o'clock, so we'll get started. So I'm Jay. I'm here to talk to you about cryptos, and I started this channel because I get so many emails and text messages and phone calls about crypto, and I see so many people buying the wrong things sometimes that I would say, and just not having a good plan when they go into crypto. So my goal for this channel is just to educate everyone and kind of talk to you all about some lessons that I've learned from mistakes I've made and things that I've learned. So I've been in the space about a year now. I decided to go all into crypto from equities in late December, early January, and for me, it was the best decision to do that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So I want to start out very general and just kind of talk about things I get a lot of questions about. So what is a blockchain? A blockchain is where all the cryptos reside. Different cryptos have different blockchains, but the key thing to remember about sorry, someone's calling me. The key thing to remember about blockchains is that they call it a blockchain because there's a block, and every time you make a transaction, whether you're buying Ethereum, you're buying Bitcoin, you're buying something else at Coinbase, at one of the exchanges, that transaction goes in the block. And there's only so many transactions that can go in a block. And when the block fills up, it starts a new chain. I mean, it starts a new block, and they're chained together, and that's why it's called a blockchain. So different cryptos allow different amounts of transactions in the block, and we'll talk about that later. So that's just kind of a general overview of what a blockchain is. So what is a crypto? A crypto is a new asset class. It's based on math and it's protected by cryptology. So up to this point in our history, we've only had stocks, bonds, property, cash, and that's pretty much it in terms of things where we can invest or leave our money. So this is a new asset class, and that's important to point out because a lot of people don't understand that, and we don't often get a new asset class to invest in. So it's kind of important you look at it that way. It's a nascent technology. It's volatile, and we'll talk about that later. And you really have to do a lot of research in what you're going to invest into. And it's important that you don't just jump in and buy things that aren't necessarily a good investment. So first thing you really got to talk about when you're going to get into cryptos, a lot of people don't talk about security, and it's really important that you pay attention to this. Anytime you open a new account, whether it's crypto or anything, the first place you should go is the security section of a website, especially with cryptos and especially at an exchange like Coinbase or something like that. The first thing you should do, if you're not using a password protector on your phone, and it's an app you can download, and it saves all your passwords and it creates really strong passwords for you, so you don't have to write everything down. A good one that I use is called MSecure, but there's a bunch of them on the App Store, so you can pick one that you like the best. Another tip I tell everybody is don't use SMS text to log into websites. A lot of people will use their cell phone. They'll log into that website, they'll put their password in, and then they'll get a text on their phone with a code that tells them how to log in. I recommend you use an authenticator app, and the reason why is because a lot of times people will take your phone number over. They call it a SIM swap attack. And if they do that, they then can get that text. They can log in your email account. And once they take over your email account, just think how many things you use to log in with email. They can take over everything, including your Coinbase account or another crypto account, where then they can send the cryptos wherever they want, and then they're gone. So make sure you're using a Google Authenticator app, and then also delete your phone number from your email accounts, because once your email accounts get hacked, they get your cell phone number. So use a Google Authenticator app to log in and delete your cell phone number from your email accounts. So another thing I see a lot of people that they get confused about, if y'all have any questions while I'm talking, just feel free to ask, is wallets. There's several types of crypto wallets. The first crypto wallet is a hot wallet. This is a wallet that is in your browser or on your cell phone, and this is not at Coinbase or FTX or Kraken or anything like that. If you create a wallet on your cell phone, and a real popular one is MetaMask, and there's a bunch of others. If you create a wallet on your cell phone, you're going to have to set it up, and you're going to have to use what's called a seed phrase. The app is going to give you this phrase, and it's 12 words, random words. And it's important that you write these words down. You don't save them digitally. Don't save them on your phone. Don't show them to anybody. Don't even show them to your mama, who you probably trust the most. It's important that you write these down and don't save them anywhere. The reason why is if you have this seed phrase, you can let's say you lose your wallet, you lose your cell phone, you drop it in a lake or whatever. As long as you have this seed phrase, you can re-download the app and your cryptos are still there. If anybody ever gets that seed phrase from you and they download another app and put the seed phrase in, they can transfer all your crypto to them. So it's like a key to a safety deposit box in a bank where all your cash is. So you never want to let anybody see that seed phrase, and you don't want to store it anywhere digitally, especially on your cell phone, especially on a laptop. You want to write it down in a couple of places and just keep it. The next type of wallet is called a cold wallet. This is a wallet where a lot of people will store their cryptos, and it's basically an encrypted thumb drive where you store your crypto, and it's not connected to the internet, has no Bluetooth. And people do this because it's the safest way to store your crypto if you're ever worried about someone trying to steal it or anything. But there's risk with that too, because what if there's a fire? What if you lose it or anything like that? And there's I'm sure you see on the news, there's people that have lost their crypto because they lost their wallet. So the other place where your cryptos go, and this is the most popular, is on centralized exchanges like Coinbase, Celsius, FTX, Kraken, Crypto.com. When you buy your crypto there, it stays with them on their servers. There's a saying in crypto that says, not your keys, not your cryptos. And that just means that if you don't have the seed phrase, then the cryptos is on their server. So it's just important you understand the difference. If you're buying cryptos at Robinhood or anything like that, you don't own those cryptos. Robinhood does, unless they change that. I know they were talking about changing, but right now they own the cryptos. You can't move them anywhere. When you buy your cryptos at a crypto exchange like Celsius, Coinbase, or the ones I've mentioned, you can send those anywhere you want. You don't have to close your account. It's not like a TD Ameritrade account where you have to close your positions and you have to liquidate your account, open a new account at Charles Schwab. You can send your crypto anywhere you want. You can send it to your hot wallet. You can send it to your cold wallet. You can send it from exchange to exchange. And all you're going to pay is a fee based on what kind of network you use. So if you're on Ethereum, you're going to pay an Ethereum fee to the Ethereum network. So let's talk a little bit about where to buy cryptos. I mentioned Celsius and Coinbase. Celsius is probably my favorite for people getting into crypto. And the reason why is because it's really easy to set up. It's really easy to use. And when you buy the crypto and you leave it there, they pay you interest on the cryptos you have there. They also will pay you interest on if you move any cash from like your checking or savings account. You can buy what's called a stable coin like the USDC, and Celsius will pay you 8.8% interest on that instead of it just sitting in your checking or savings account and you're getting pretty much nothing. The reason they can do this, and I'm going to make a later video about Celsius, but the reason Celsius can do this is because your bank, the money you have sitting in your checking or savings account, the bank just loans that out to people for small business loans, home equity lines of credit, to go buy a car, whatever people take loans out for. And the bank keeps all the interest, and they don't give that any of that to you because they're at the end of the day, their job is to maximize profit and revenue. So at Celsius, they've kind of flipped that. They loan your cryptos out to people that want to borrow them and go trade with them, or they loan them out to institutions that want to go trade with them. And they give you most of the interest. So that's why they pay 8.8% on a stable coin, which is just tied to the value of a dollar. So a stable coin never goes up or down. It doesn't fluctuate in price. So if you take $10,000 out of your checking account, you move it to Celsius, you buy $10,000 worth of a stable coin, it's always going to be worth $10,000 because it never goes up or down like Bitcoin or Ethereum. However, you will be getting the interest weekly, and you'll get more of the stable coin itself. So whatever crypto you buy, if it's at Celsius and you get the interest, like for Bitcoin, you get 6.25%. For Ethereum, you get 5.25%. They pay you in that asset. So if you have Ethereum sitting at Coinbase, they're going to pay you in more Ethereum. If you have Bitcoin sitting there, they're going to pay you in more Bitcoin. So they're not paying you in US dollars. They're paying you in an asset that's going to appreciate. It's pretty interesting. I like it. So the risk is putting your money at Celsius. It's not FDIC insured, and they do loan your cryptos out. So the way it works at Celsius is if you want to borrow money from Celsius, let's say you have $10,000 at Celsius in cryptos, and you want to borrow half that. So all Celsius requires you to do is over collateralize your loan up to 150%. So if you wanted to borrow 5,000, you'd have to put up $10,000 of your cryptos at Celsius, and they approve your loan instantly. There's no paperwork. There's no going seeing a loan officer. There's no providing your pay stubs, and there's no providing your retirement accounts. None of that. The loan is approved instantly, and you pay it back, and it's pennies on the dollar compared to a loan taking out at a bank. Another thing a lot of people do is they don't want to sell their crypto and generate a large taxable gain. So what they will do at Celsius, they'll move their cryptos to Celsius. They'll take a loan out against their crypto in US dollars, have that sent to their checking account, and they'll use that money to go buy whatever they want to buy. They never have to sell their crypto, and it doesn't generate a taxable event. And then they just pay back the loan eventually. So just understand the risk if you do that at Celsius. Your money is not backed by the Federal Reserve, and there is a risk that, let's say there was this huge crash and cryptos crashed for whatever reason, you could get liquidated if the price went down far enough, but it'll tell you all that when you sign up, and you just have to really pay attention to it. But the chances of that happen are not that great, and I feel like the risk is worth it, and I think it's a great opportunity a lot of people don't know about. Let's see, Chuck's got a question. He says, "What's the risk?" So USDC is a stable coin, and it's backed by the US dollar. The crypto is not locked. Chuck asked if the crypto is locked. It's not locked at Celsius. When you move it there, if you want to sell it at Celsius, and if you want to move it, let's say you're going to move it to Coinbase, you want to swap it for another crypto, or you want to go to cash and send it back to your checking account, you can do that. However, remember I talked about the security settings? When you set up an account at Celsius, you need to go in your security settings, make sure you use a strong password, and then make sure you're using a Google Authenticator app to log in. Don't use SMS text. And then this is specific to Celsius. They have what's called HODL mode. If you turn this on, it's a safety feature on your account. You can't move anything out of your account for 24 hours. And this is if someone hacked your account, they would have to go in, turn this off, and they'd have to have a 6-digit code that Celsius gives you when you turn HODL mode on. It's HODL, HODL. It just means you hold on to your crypto. So if you turn that on, you can't move anything out of your account for 24 hours. It's just to protect someone from hacking your account. Is it locked when you loan against it? It's locked. It's only locked until you pay it off. Chuck asked if you take a loan out at Celsius against your crypto, is it locked? It's locked until you pay it off. As soon as you pay it off, you can draw it back out. But when you do, it'll explain to you, and it's much easier than going to a bank to get a loan. The last thing is, don't use Binance to buy or sell your cryptos. I highly recommend you stay away from Binance. They have lots of issues, and they have some liquidity issues right now. People are trying to sell their Bitcoin and withdraw it, and they're delaying it, and they're saying it's because they're backed up. But to me, that means there's a liquidity issue, and they don't have enough Bitcoin to give it back to people. So I recommend you stay away from Binance. So let's talk about meme coins a little bit. I know these are super popular with people with Dogecoin and SHIB going around. I do not. I'm a long-term investor. I'm not a trader. If you're going to get into crypto, and especially if you're going to follow my channel, I highly recommend you don't trade. You take your time, you do your research, and you try to find trends, and you figure out where things are going to be in 1 to 2 years from down the road. So my time frame for investing is probably 2 to 3 years, somewhere in there, and then I'll reassess. You really have to understand why you're getting into crypto, why you're buying crypto, and the reasons you bought, and a thesis for investing. If you don't understand why you invested in crypto, you're not going to know when to sell when that changes. So it's really important. And unfortunately, when people buy meme coins, they don't do this. Oh shit! Sorry, my chair almost broke. They just buy SHIB because their friends bought it. They buy Doge because their friends bought it, and they don't do any research. And meme coins are set up in a way, so they're set up so a lot of people buy them at once. The price goes up, and then your friends tell you about it, and then you FOMO in at the top, and you generally will sell at the bottom. And that's what most retail traders do, because they trade on emotions instead of fundamentals and having a thesis of why they want to buy and sell. So a lot of meme coins, a lot of people don't know this, rug pulls happen. And what a rug pull is the people that create the coin, they hold a lot of the coins in their basically in their control. They can do whatever they want with a lot of the coins, like most of them. So what they do is they market SHIB, they market all these other coins, and when the price takes off at the very top, they will sell it and they will crash it down. Now you have to think about when, and that's called a rug pull, and it'll go to zero. A lot of them do. And you have to understand that if you hold a meme coin and you're trying to sell it while it's tanking, you got to understand who's on the other side of that computer that's going to buy it while it's tanking. And they will tank faster than they go up. So you have to be really careful. So if you are going to invest in meme coins, I tell people, hey, just treat it as gambling. It's just like going to the casino, except it's worse because you don't know the odds. So if you're going to do it, just understand that you could lose everything, and those kind of coins really can go to zero. Most cryptos won't, but that one really could. So you just have to be really careful. I don't mess with meme coins, and I tell people not to invest in them. And people ask me all the time, but you got to think you got to learn how to manage your emotions when you're investing, because most people, they FOMO into coins and they sell because they're fearful. And that happens because they don't have a thesis of why they invested. They don't understand what they're investing in, and they don't know when they should sell because they don't know why they bought. Scott says no FOMO. Okay, so let's talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is the first crypto it's the OG. It was created about 11, 12ish years ago. And there's this guy named Satoshi Nakamoto. Supposedly, he's a mythical creature that no one really knows who he is. He created Bitcoin after the housing collapse in 2008, and he created it because he wanted a way for people to buy and sell things with one another without involving the banks, and without the government being able to control it. So that's the way he programmed Bitcoin, and it's commonly known as digital gold. It has that nickname because it's considered the ultimate store of value. The reason why is because most assets that we invest in nowadays, they don't have a cap on, right? So like Disney, there's millions and millions of shares of Disney that you can buy, and Disney can always issue more shares. Bitcoin was designed where there's only 21 million Bitcoin ever going to be in existence. Right now, there's about 18.5 million in existence, and every 4 years, Bitcoin is programmed to go through what's called a halving. So every 4 years, when the halving happens, more Bitcoin is released onto the open market for the miners to mine. And then the miners is just someone that validates transactions on the Bitcoin network. Same thing for Ethereum. When they mine, they get paid in Bitcoin, and they take that Bitcoin and they sell it to places like Coinbase, Crypto.com, FTX, like that. So every 4 years we have these halvings, and more Bitcoin is released. By the year 2140, all the Bitcoin that's ever going to exist is going to be out in the open in the circulation, so anybody can buy it. So that's the main selling point of Bitcoin, and it was designed perfectly to do that. It was an amazing engineering feat in terms of software design, and that's why a lot of people buy it, because there's only 21 million, and people basically buy Bitcoin. You can't do too much with it compared with some of the other cryptos, but it's a great, if you're looking for something that you're going to hold for a very long time, it can be a great investment. It is around 64,000, I think today, 62, somewhere in there. It has a lot of room to grow, and it can go up violently really fast, and it has sold off fast in the past. So a lot of people like it because I see it as an inflation hedge, because I see it as we move into a digital age, people are going to start buying Bitcoin as an inflation hedge instead of gold. A lot of people do that. I own some Bitcoin. I don't own a lot of it. I like Bitcoin, but I like other cryptos better because Bitcoin does one thing perfectly. There are some things happening on top of Bitcoin that has not happened before, like Lightning. And recently in El Salvador, they made Bitcoin their national currency. So that's what they're using in El Salvador to buy and sell things. So it is a good investment, and if you're going to buy Bitcoin, or you plan on holding it for a long time and hope it goes up, and that's pretty much what most people do. So we'll move on to Ethereum. So Ethereum is like Bitcoin. It does all the things that I talked about with Bitcoin. You can use it to buy and sell things. A lot of people buy it as a store of value. It was created about 6 years ago. So Bitcoin has about a 5 or 6 your head start on Ethereum. Bitcoin was designed to be a decentralized public world computer that anyone can launch their own internet-based economy on without limitations or control. And I know that's a lot to hear and think about it, but it just basically gives anyone in the world a way to launch an app on, and it's not controlled by a centralized entity like Facebook. So think about Facebook has all these apps, and they take money from them, and they tell them you can only do certain things. Uh, if you don't say what we want you to say, we're going to kick you off, and just things like that. So Ethereum is the opposite; it's decentralized. So that means that the people that put apps on Ethereum, they control the apps, and there's no CEO of Ethereum. And that's same with Bitcoin. There's no committee. There's nobody telling anybody what to do, and that's what's beautiful about Ethereum. But the big difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum is anyone can build applications on top of Ethereum, and you can't really do that on Bitcoin. So if you've ever heard of Uniswap, that's built on Ethereum. Pretty much most of the meme coins are built on Ethereum. All NFTs are on Ethereum, just about all of them. Almost all the smart contracts are on Ethereum. Derivatives are on Ethereum. All the crypto trading platforms are built on Ethereum, especially the decentralized ones. So Ethereum can do a lot more than Bitcoin, but there's a lot more of Ethereum in existence. So Ethereum, there isn't a cap on how much Ethereum can be issued. And the reason there's not a cap is because they need a lot more Ethereum because people use it to transact on the network. So with Ethereum, you have to understand there's Ethereum, which is the network, and there's ETH, which is the asset of Ethereum. So when you're on the Ethereum network, you have to have ETH to move around. Think about going through a toll booth and you pay a toll to drive on the road. That's how Ethereum is. So anytime you do anything on Ethereum, you buy or sell an NFT, you create an NFT, all that requires Ethereum for it to work. So people have to buy Ethereum for utility to do things on the network, and they also buy it as an investment. So that's, for me, I like Ethereum better. I like Bitcoin too. Some people like Bitcoin better. I like Ethereum better because I can see more ways in the future that people are going to need this, and it's going to solve a lot more problems than I think Bitcoin will. But they're both good investments. You got to do your own research and don't buy something just because I talked about it here. Let's see. Josh's question is, what are the best site to research coins trends? YouTube and Twitter. One of my recommendations at the end is to get on Twitter. So there's what I call Twitter, and there's I'll talk about 1559 next, Chuck. So there's Twitter and there's crypto Twitter. So when you get on Twitter, you control what you see in your feed. So I recommend everyone gets on Twitter if you're going to invest in crypto, and you start following everything crypto. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm on there, jbird155, and then you can look and see who I follow. And I follow people that I learned from. Everything that happens in crypto starts and dies there, and it starts there way before the media picks up. That was the first place I got into was Twitter and YouTube. And I've learned more on YouTube and Twitter about cryptos than I ever thought I would, and then reading some books as well. But crypto moves at light speed. Like what was the norm yesterday is completely different tomorrow, and that all happens on Twitter. So I highly recommend you get on Twitter and you start following people that you can kind of learn from. Another trick I have for researching, if you go to Google Alerts, and this is a great way to research things. You can set an alert for anything you want on Google to search all of the internet. So I go and I'll set up alerts for all my cryptos, whether I'm invested in them or I'm interested in investing in them. And every day I'll get an email from Google, and it'll search the entire World Wide Web for articles or news postings or anything about whatever topic. You can put any topic you want in there. And that's a great way to get information every day. So you don't have to go out on YouTube and Google and search for it. It does it for you, and it just sends you an email every day. The second thing, a great way, if you go to Google Trends, you can go to Google Trends and you can type in Ethereum. And what it does is it basically, Google's algorithms, they'll track how people are, what they're Googling for. So it'll show you. So you can look at that and you can see, okay, lots of people are starting to do a Google search for Ethereum, and that usually leads to people buying Ethereum on the exchanges. So a lot of times stuff won't show up, but it's a great way just to see what the world is doing. Are they searching for Ethereum? Are they searching for Bitcoin? Are they searching for something else? Chuck has a question about 1559. So I wasn't going to talk about that because I didn't want to confuse everyone. Because it's extremely complicated, but I'll jump into it. So in August, Ethereum had an upgrade to their system called EIP 1559. And basically, if you remember how I was talking a few minutes ago about how when you're on Ethereum, you need ETH, the asset, to get on the network and to do things. It's like the lubrication that allows you to move around. It's the money you pay on the toll to get on the Ethereum network. So when you're on the Ethereum network and you make a transaction, so let's say you buy a crypto from Coinbase, that is a transaction on the Ethereum blockchain on the Ethereum network. That takes ETH, the asset, to power it. So anytime you make that transaction, you have to pay a fee in ETH. So it generates revenue for the Ethereum network. Now, when that transaction happened, the fee, part of the fee you paid in ETH, some of that went to the miner that I was talking about earlier that validates all the transactions on the Ethereum blockchain. The other part of it gets burned. So when you look at that on a macro level, and there's all these millions over the past year, there's 1 trillion transactions on Ethereum. When you look at all those transactions starting in August of this year when they upgraded to 1559, a portion of that Ethereum is burnt. And what that means is it is burnt and it disappears forever. So it's decreasing the supply of Ethereum while the demand is exponentially growing. So if you've ever taken basic economics course, if you have demand going through the roof and you have supply going down, that's going to generate upward movement on price. It's a mathematical fact. It's going to happen. And that's proven over this past year when you look at how much Ethereum's gone up, and it's because demand has gone up. And in August, the supply started to go down. Chuck also asked a question about 2.0. So 2.0 is an Ethereum upgrade. It's the most important upgrade they've ever done. And that is supposed to happen sometime between March and June, but who knows? It's software, it's buggy. So they're testing it right now, and hopefully they release that early next year sometime, but we'll see. All right, so we're gonna move on to some of the recommendations I have for everyone watching. If you're watching, whenever you watch this later on. So the number one rule I tell everybody is you have to do your own research before you buy. You should not be buying meme coins because somebody said it on Facebook, or your buddy at the gym, or wherever, your girlfriend at the hair salon, whatever. You should not be buying someone stuff because they told you about it. So do not buy things because I talked about it on here. You've got to do your own research. I finished grad school in this past August, and most of my time in grad school, I was researching cryptos instead of studying. I could have probably graduated with a much higher GPA, but I got the same 2 masters as everybody else. But so I highly recommend you got to do your own research. You have to know why you're investing. You have to have a thesis. If you don't know why you're investing, you're not going to know when to sell, and that's why people lose money. And I also recommend, unless you're going to be a trader and that is your job all day, every day, don't try to trade. You got to spend time, you have to research, and you have to invest in the long term. And if you do that, you're going to be much better in the long run versus someone who's trying to trade on their cell phone because their buddy told them about SHIB. My recommendation is if you're going to invest in something, and after you invest, you need to spend at least an hour a week studying whatever you want to invest in, and after you buy it. That's just kind of a general rule, and because things change so fast in crypto, you really have to stay on top of it. So it's important you do a lot of research, and as I mentioned earlier, YouTube is a great place, and also Twitter. So when you get on YouTube, you have to be careful because there's a lot of influencers on YouTube. A lot of influencers on YouTube, and what they will do is they get paid to promote coins. So you have to understand that. So just because you see someone on YouTube telling you to buy a coin, or they think it's going to go to the moon, or it's going to triple, or whatever, you have to understand, like the smaller coins, they're most likely getting paid to talk about the coin. Now that doesn't mean they all have bad intentions and they're just trying to pump a coin, but a lot of them do, because they pay them in the coins they're promoting. So the more they promote that coin, the higher it's going to go because their viewers are going to buy it, and then they sell it. And that's kind of like the rug pulls I was telling you about earlier. So you have to be careful. So don't buy something just because someone mentioned it on YouTube, because there's thousands of crypto people on YouTube, and you just have to be really careful about who you're going to listen to. So next video I'll put a list at the bottom. I have my favorite ones, people that are pretty genuine and they're not always just trying to sell you something. So next thing I want to talk about is if a lot of people tell me, hey, I just don't want to get involved in cryptos. There's too much friction to get my money from a checking account to get it to a crypto exchange, to set it up, to figure out what I want to buy, and then to figure out what I want to do with it afterwards. And I totally get that. So there's this, if you want to buy cryptos for your retirement fund, and I'm talking about like a retirement fund you have at TD Ameritrade or Charles Schwab or something like that, not like your 401k or TSP if you're in the Army. You can go to grayscale.com, and they have built trust. And a trust is basically they go out and they buy the crypto for you, and then you buy shares of the trust. One of my favorite ones there is the ETHE. That's for Ethereum. They have one, the GBTC, which is for Bitcoin, and they have about 10 or 15 of them now. And there's a bunch of different cryptos that you can buy through the trust. So if you just want to buy that through like TD Ameritrade, you're buying shares of the trust, and as Ethereum appreciates, the value of your shares will appreciate. So it tracks the value of Ethereum, but you don't actually have to go out and buy the crypto. And this is for retirement accounts. Or you can buy it for non-retirement account if you want to. I bought some in my retirement account. Another good crypto you can buy, another good option you can buy is if you want to get like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of other cryptos in DeFi. They have something called the BED. It's the BED index, and it's at indexcoop.com. Indexcoop, and that's INDXCOP. And that's basically this place basically has index funds for cryptos. They have metaverse cryptos. They have metaverse indexes. They have DeFi indexes. They have gaming indexes. They have all kinds of stuff. And the way that works is you have to buy Ethereum at a exchange like Coinbase, and you have to send it over there, and then you can put your Ethereum in that index if you want to. Before you get into cryptos too, you really have to understand your risk level. Like, how much risk do you want to take? Some people, they want to take a lot of, like me, want to take a lot of risk, and some people don't want to take hardly risk at all. And that's fine. But everybody should have some of their portfolio in cryptos, because as I mentioned earlier, it's a new asset class, and we have never had the opportunity to invest in a new asset class, at least in my generation. And it's been a very long time, longer than I can remember, since we've had a new asset class we can invest in. But you have to invest in the right things. You got to do research, and you got to have a plan before you just go in. So after you assess your risk level, and also let me say this, if you have a financial advisor and he's not telling you to buy some cryptos for your portfolio, he is doing you a disservice. Like, up until this point, financial advisors have always pushed 60% stocks, 40% bonds. And that's all the big funds, that's all they push for probably the past 100 years. Now it should be 60% stocks, 30% bonds, and 10% cryptos. If you want to do less than that, then do 5%. But I think everybody should have at least 5% of their portfolio in cryptos, because I think it's going to outperform equities over the long term, 5 to 10 years. And it's really, I think, the best place to be with your money. But it's not for everybody. Don't ape in just because I told you about it, because then I'll feel bad if you lose money. But please do your own research. But everybody should have a good portion of their portfolio in cryptos. I talked about this earlier, but you really have to learn how to remove emotions from your investing, because people get excited because they want to make money, and they invest in dog coins like SHIB. And unfortunately, they invest at the top. Most people invest at the top. I mean, if you look at SHIB recently, I saw tons of people on Facebook buying SHIB pretty much at the top. And since over the past week or so, it's down about 60% or more. And that happens because people buy usually with the herd at the end, and then they're going to sell at the bottom because they don't want to lose everything. So they're going to lock in a loss. And that happens because people are buying and selling on emotion, and they don't have a plan. They don't have a thesis of why they're investing and why they would sell. So that's why I tell people don't invest in meme coins unless you treat it as just pure gambling, and you know that you're probably going to lose everything. Most people do. Some people make a lot of money in meme coins, and that's fine, but most people don't. Most people are not good traders, and they do it on emotions. And I mentioned this earlier, really understand why you're investing in something. Like, I know why I love Ethereum and where I think it's going to go. I might be wrong, and I'm fine with that, but I've done tons of research, and I feel comfortable in my investment. And I know when I need to buy a new chair. Sorry. I know why I bought, and I know why I'm going to sell. So if my thesis changes of why I bought Ethereum, I will sell it, and I'll take profits, and I'll go to something else. But I know why I bought, but most people don't. They just buy because someone else did or something else. All right, so a lot of people don't say this, but you need to have a plan to sell. If you've been in cryptos for a while, you've probably made a decent amount of money depending on how much you invested or anything. But a lot of people don't have a plan to sell. So you really need to know when you're going to sell. So a plan to sell in crypto would be something like if I buy Ethereum and it hits this price, I'm going to sell 10%. If it hits this price, I'm going to sell another 10%. And you stick to it. The worst thing you can do in crypto is try and sell at the top because nobody knows where the price of crypto is going to go in the short term or tomorrow, the next day. If they do, they're lying to you. Okay. I think cryptos are extremely undervalued, and I think they're going to be much higher in the future. I don't know what the price is going to be. I don't know where it's going to go, but it's going to be much higher. Could it go down 30% in next week? Yes, but in 2 years, I think it's going to be up, a lot more, and it's going to be worth holding it. So I don't know the exact price, and most people don't, but make sure you have a plan to sell. And there is nothing ever wrong with taking profits. The hardest thing to do in crypto is to sell something when it's up because you get greedy and you think it's going to keep going up and you get excited and you hold on to it. So you have to have a plan to sell and you got to stick to it. I mentioned this earlier, but you got to get on Twitter, get on YouTube, find some good people to follow. And if you want to shoot me a text or a message on social media on Twitter at jbird155 or Instagram jbird155 or on Facebook, I can add you to my email list and I can send you all my favorite people on YouTube who put out good information. This is really important. When you get in crypto, there's lots of people who are going to try and scam you. Okay. If something sounds too good to be true, then it is. Never, ever, ever give anybody that seed phrase I talked about. No one should ever ask you for that. Never give anybody your password. No one from customer service or Coinbase will ever contact you and ask you for your password. If you're on Twitter or if you're on Coinbase or whatever, and someone contacts you and they ask you for your password or your seed phrase, delete them, block them, do not reply to them. If someone asks you to send them money so they can mine with us and they offer you all these crazy returns, they are trying to scam you. Do not engage with them. Okay. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Listen to your gut and just make sure you don't lose. I just want to hit the security one more time. A couple of things I forgot to mention. Whenever you download Coinbase or any other crypto app, only log into that app when you're going to make a purchase or a sell. Don't log into the app just to look at price. Download some other app to do that because a lot of times people forget to log out. And when you forget to log out and you close the app, if someone ever got inside your phone, which happens all the time, and you're not logged out of that app, they can send your crypto wherever they want and there's nothing you can do about it. And once your crypto, if someone hacks your account and they send it to their wallet, it's gone and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's important you take security very serious and you set up all these. You just don't want to be a low-hanging fruit because there's so many people that don't use strong passwords, don't use authenticator app, they don't log out of their account, and their crypto gets hacked and it's gone, and they wonder why. They blame it on Coinbase or something. That's not always true. Sometimes it is the exchange's fault, just like it's the bank's fault if your funds get drained for whatever reason. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So for the next 5 years, I'm going to tell y'all what I like the most, and I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. I'm just telling you what I like. Please don't go out and buying this stuff because this is just where I like. I think gaming is going to be huge in the next 2 to 5 years. If you can start reaching any kind of cryptos that are involved in that. So my portfolio is Ethereum, Chainlink, Bitcoin, Polygon, Aave, DOT, and RFox. I probably like ETH the best because Ethereum has so many things built on top of it. It generates so much revenue for people that own Ethereum. It has a lot of catalysts coming up, and to me, I just think it's extremely undervalued right now. And in cryptos, fundamentals lag price. I mean, price lags fundamentals. I'm sorry. So the fundamentals are just off the charts for Ethereum, and the price to me is extremely undervalued. I have no idea what it's going to be a month from now, 3 months from now, but I think like 2 or 3 years from now, it's going to be significantly higher. Same thing for Chainlink. I didn't really get to talk about that. I see Chainlink as kind of like the Google of blockchains. It's going to connect all the blockchains together and bring in data from the real world. One of the things that is a limitation of blockchain and cryptos is they can't bring in real data to the blockchain from the real world. And that's what Chainlink does. And it brings it in and it verifies the data that's correct. Bitcoin, I talked about that. It's a great investment. A lot of people only like Bitcoin. That's all they invest in. I like to invest in many things. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I like Ethereum better than Bitcoin, but I like Bitcoin too. Polygon is another good one. That's a scaling solution for Ethereum. Ethereum has so much activity on the network that these other cryptos are just scaling solutions. So they kind of siphon off all the transactions on Ethereum that it can't handle. Aave is a lending solution. It's a decentralized lending solution that is run by smart contracts. Smart contracts are predominantly on the Ethereum network. So every time someone uses a smart contract on Aave, it pays ETH to the Ethereum network, and some of that's burned and it reduces the overall supply. Dot is another blockchain, kind of like Ethereum. It's a little bit different. I just thought it was a good investment. And RFox is a gaming token. But please don't invest in any of these, because I did. Do your own research and assess your risk level and go from there. I think we're going to end there unless anybody has any other questions. Does anybody have any other questions? If not, I'm going to end it. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll try to do one of these once a week or more. If you like the channel, click on the thumbs up, subscribe, and leave me some comments below and tell me what kind of videos. Where can we buy Perch? What is Perch? Scott says, where can we buy Perch? What is Perch? Merch. I don't have any merch. No merchandise yet. Now I'll try to do these videos pretty frequently. I'm going to do a video on Celsius next. So you can kind of see how that works, and we'll go from there. And then if I find things interesting on the internet, I'll do some videos. But if y'all have questions, you know where to find me. What's the best advice to avoid scam coins? Jordan, I would say don't FOMO into stuff. Do a lot of research, and you can always shoot me a message and ask me if I know about it. I'll tell you. You really want to look at they call it the tokenomics of the coin. So when coins launch, if the people that created the coin, if they hold most of the coins, that's usually a bad sign. If you go to coingecko.com, that's kind of a good website to look at coins and stuff. And you just have to be careful, because you don't want to buy meme coins. I stay away from them, and it's because the people that create those, they usually hold a lot of the coins in the beginning when they create it, and then they market it, they pump it. When the price gets up, they sell all their coins, and they completely close the project, and it goes to zero. And that's called a rug pull, and that happens a lot. So stay away from those. When you go to coingecko.com, and when you search for your coin, it's going to show you, it has like a risk level, and I think it's red, yellow, and green, and it tells you like if it's a coin you should probably stay away from, like if it's not on a lot of exchanges, a lot of people aren't investing to it. And I would say get on Twitter, like just research. What links are you talking about, Jordan? He asked me, can you put the links in the bio? Oh, it's called CoinGecko. It's coin, and then it's gecko like the lizard. You can also go to googlealerts.com if you want to set up an alert to receive every day, and you can go to Google Trends. Let me think, what's another good place to research? I'll think of some others, but Twitter is really good. My biggest advice to people getting in right now, if you're going to start crypto, like if I was brand new, I would be like 80% Ethereum, 20% Bitcoin, and then I would start researching other. Those are the two OGs. Those are the blue chips in cryptos right now. And I think in the future those are going to be really well. Those have the least amount of risk. Bitcoin and Ethereum have the least amount of risk, and Ethereum probably has more ups. Ethereum does have more upside than Bitcoin, but if you look at the price of Ethereum, which is around 4,500, and you look at the price of Bitcoin, which is around 64,000, it takes a lot more capital to move Bitcoin. So it's just a simple economics game. It takes a lot more money, a lot more people buying Bitcoin to make it go up versus Ethereum. But they're both great investments, and I recommend those two for everyone to start out. 80% Ethereum, probably 20% Bitcoin, or you can do 50-50, depending on which one you like the most. And then you can just start researching other things. And if you ever are curious about a crypto, you can always shoot me a message, and I'll see if I know what it is. But unless anybody has any other questions, I'm gonna end there. All right, we'll see y'all next time I do a video.